Hello, Bard haters. Welcome to another fine We Hate Bards Let's Play. I'm Ben.
And I'm Matt.
And this is Titan Quest, a game I know nothing about.
Yeah, me too. It was 75% off on GOG this weekend.
Well, that's always good. Free games. Cheap games are always better than regular price games.
We were going to do No Man's Sky because I wanted to show Ben that I'm better at it.
The sun will dim and spread a shadow
Dramatic.
over the earth.
Really dramatic.
Temples which have stood forever.
Also illegible because it's presumably old Greek
Heavens
script.
will vanish.
I think that's Greek.
The gods will
Yeah, I see an
fall.
omega in there. That's definitely Greek.
One day the weak will have power over the strong. The poets will stop singing and instead
I believe that was called the French Revolution, actually.
the sword. It is in these
Have you watched
times
Mr. Neural and Mr. Strange
that the
yet?
strongest
I don't believe
heroes
so.
are born.
It's British, so of course it's good. But it's about Napoleon era alternate history where magic comes back to England, and that's how they defeat the French. But that's a very small part of it.
Is that Jeanne d'Arc?
I don't know.
There's a game on PSP called Jeanne d'Arc that is basically that. It's Joan of Arc, but where where the English have demons and Joan can cast magic.
No, nothing like that.
You there, soldier! If you've come looking for rest and peace...
Well, this looks a little bit World of Warcrafty.
Not
Our
at all.
village has recently been beset by
It looks
I
like
said a
every
little
other
bit.
action RPG out there.
Okay, fair. That's a better way to put it. Okay, then let me take it back. It looks a bit Diablo-y.
There you
The
go.
farmers cannot get to their fields and our supplies are running low. Please.
I haven't been as intimately involved with Diablo as I have with World of Warcraft, so that's probably why I just...
Bro, I
the other
just
one.
showed up and this dude's already asking me for help. I'm literally wearing a tunic and have a knife, and yet I'm supposed to be a hero?
Yeah, I just got lost on the way to the, I
I
just got lost on the way to the farmers convention,
In the
man.
field here, they're going to kill my horse.
Fuck do I care about your horse, bro? I mean...
Okay, everyone's just coming up to you and assuming you're going to want to do stuff. This is bizarre.
So I do have to hold the mouse button down to kill things.
Well, at least it lets you hold it and doesn't make you repeat
I
it
better
and
get
click
this
it.
effing horse, yeah.
Like, I've played games where if you don't click after every single attack, it won't do another
But
one.
I'm not the only one in trouble. Down the road...
Bro, I'm just a dude with a knife. You couldn't do the same thing?
We've got monsters
Pick up a
at
stone.
the gates.
Yeah, literally, just like take a nearby rock and beat him to death.
This is the problem with these games, is they assume that ordinary people aren't heroes. Everyone can be a hero, bro. I believe in all of you.
I think most of the problem with these games is everyone else is just so damn lazy.
Although here there appears to be armed guards.
Like, what game was that? I think it was Heroes of Might and Magic I was playing recently. Might have been that. It was another action RPG. And, like, never before have I noticed the whole NPC standing in one spot asking you for shit more than that. Because literally every single character, stock still, doesn't move. Hey, can you go get food for me? I'm hungry. Dude, what the fuck?
So I do like that this game is more of a Roman or an ancient Greek-based action RPG. That's not one that's super popular.
Your body will return to the fountain, and you may live to fight again.
I have immortality.
Oh, that must be why you're the hero then.
Diomedes, the leader of this small village. Do you mean to say that you fought your way here? If
Diomedes.
that's true, then please, I beg of you, we need your help. Monsters led by a powerful
He's a bee away from losing his foot.
appeared a few
Who
years
is?
ago.
Diomedes.
They've driven us from our farm.
Diabetes.
Oh,
We can
come
I
on,
got it.
man.
I got. Well, I was actually thinking Diomedes as in Diomedes from Ogre Battle Tactics, or Ogre Battle 64 rather.
Lies on the other side of the
That's a game I've actually been playing quite a bit of recently.
The shaman was last seen beyond the farms, at the edge of the Helos woods. Please, rid us.
You gonna pay me in some gold? How about give me some decent equipment? That'd be nice.
Yeah, there you go. Where's the frickin' store?
To speak of the mightiest hero ever known.
I don't care. I'm the mightiest hero that was ever known, clearly, because I have a knife and a tunic, and that qualifies me more than any
Yes.
hero you guys know.
Well, no, I think it qualifies you more because you're the only person capable of moving and going out and actually doing anything.
That's true. And I run everywhere, so...
You're going out there.
See, the thing I've always found... Oh, that's all his inventory. I'm like, you have a lot of stuff to start out that you didn't know about. But the thing I've always found...
I have 500 gold. What can I buy?
Quite a lot, it looks like. Oh, wait, no, you can only buy this if it's blue, because the rest of it you can't afford. So you can get a bronze hand axe, which is a bit better than what you've got. Or you could get a slightly different looking copper knife.
Get a bow or a spear.
I think those are your ranged weapons, so maybe start with some armor first, because you actually have a weapon that does damage. Maybe armor might be the best place to start.
Oh, not enough gold. Blue is what you can equip, not what you can afford.
Oh, it's what you can... Oh, okay, so that's stuff you need prerequisites of, like, certain strength and dex and everything. So it's a bit like Dark Souls in that regard, then. Although Dark Souls will let you equip something even if you don't have the prereqs, you just will suck at using it. So the one thing I've noticed about a lot of action RPGs, the thing that really bugs me, is obviously the gameplay is very boring and cut and dry. But the one thing it does lend itself to, given the fact that, because you don't have to do as much with the gameplay or like the sprite animations, that should give you a bit more room to stretch your legs creatively in terms of building this big epic world and story. But for all of that, most action RPGs don't do that much to build a big epic story world. They just use it as an excuse to making it an easy, simple to make game that'll make lots of money.
Correct.
Leave if you must.
And I always find that a little bit obnoxious.
Please turn back and save our father.
I mean, admittedly, I think the closest thing I would say that has done, action RPG well and has managed to incorporate story. I mean, you can argue with me on whether you think it's, action RPG similar to this style, but I would say Dragon Age.
No, yeah, very similar approach. Obviously, a little bit more in depth, but yeah, no, absolutely. Those games were nothing but utter disappointments. The newest one was alright, but.
Oh wait, you didn't like Dragon Age?
No, I mean, I did enjoy playing them, but they could have done so much more.
I'm actually saying they do more than a lot of other action RPGs.
They do, they definitely do, but they still could have. It's the same thing. Like almost every screen was, or every single screen was basically a walkway. I mean, I felt so on railroads. I'm gonna die here. Why am I dying already? I'm level 1.
That's why you're dying. That's the answer right there.
Why am I being attacked by crows? I don't understand this.
Yep, lead him into the town. Have him attack other people that aren't you. Well, there's death number 1, presumably to be followed by many, many more. And now they're in the town and killing everyone.
Well, that was fun.
Well, a true hero...
Oh, I do have health potions now that I see this. No, I don't.
Zero health potions. Yeah, because I looked at that as well. I'm like, oh, you have health... Oh, wait, no, there's 0 there. Never mind. But no, like... The thing I was saying with Dragon Age, though, like, it actually does things better than I think more action RPGs should do. Like I said, you're right, it is a bit railroady, it is a bit, like, a lot of stuff is just like, this is the map, this is where you have to go. But at the very least, they use that as a chance to build this big story world, make in-depth, interesting characters.
That's true, that's true.
And that's what I think more action RPGs should do. I understand it's going to be a little bit linear time. And even given that, Dragon Age 1, I mean, not so much Dragon Age 2 or Origins, but Dragon Age 1 actually had a bit of choice. Like, you could like, go... There were, like, 4 different locations you could go, you could do a bunch of stuff there, you could move around a lot, there were plenty of side quests. So it wasn't entirely linear. I mean, I can understand why some people didn't necessarily like it that much, but I think for being what a lot of these action RPGs try to be, it did it very, very well. Much better, much more competently than most.
I just want to kill satyrs, bro.
Well, it looks like you're doing it rather effectively. Maybe you should avoid the crows for right now and just stick to killing satyrs, because the crows seem to be, like, just death for you anytime you've gone near them. Well, other than the time you led them back to the village, but I think then they were mostly just distracted by the, oh, there's boars.
We're not even in the forest.
Nope, we're in the fields. And these boars are a lot tougher than the boars in the forest. Well, who's gonna win? Who's gonna survive? Will you do it?
Yes!
Just by the skin of your teeth.
But there's no, like... Oh, there is very slight health regen.
Yeah.
I have not gained a single piece of loot yet.
I would almost recommend looking at your... Interesting story. The last time I played an action RPG, like one I hadn't played before, it was Path of Exile. And apparently that's really big in a lot of these RPG circles.
I like that one.
It's interesting if you're into
buy a
that kind
bow,
of stuff.
you think?
Are you going to do any ranged attacking?
I'm thinking about it. Ooh,
Then-
I could buy a staff and shoot spells.
And cast spells. Cast all the damn spells. But anyway, Path of Exile, and I played it on the channel, and I was having a hard time, like it took me forever to actually find a decent weapon. I actually had to buy one. But as it turns out, there was supposed to be a weapon that was dropped right by me, and I never found it, because what Alex didn't tell me, I was playing on his computer, is that due to the fact that he's high level and finds loot freaking everywhere, he actually turned in the settings, he turned off the ability to notice any loot unless it was like of a certain level, like rare or higher.
Oh, nice.
So I was finding barely anything, and it was getting really difficult. And I didn't realize that until after I finished recording.
That would explain a lot. I need to do that in Neverwinter. Like it's actually really annoying. I'm sure there is a setting to do that, but I haven't found it yet. So I'm just supposed to just kind of hang out and wait until...
Our farmers are terrified. They are peaceful folk and are no warriors. Like
Well, normally there's stuff on the map, like an indicator, like go here and kill this thing, or like do you have a quest log of some description? That might be useful.
No, I kind of know where I'm supposed to go. There is a quest up here.
Oh, there you go. Find and defeat the Satyr Shaman. So that's what you need to do. You need to find the king of all the damn satyrs.
But I don't have any health.
Well, you had about half health. You're fine. And look, you're actually being able to kill crows now.
Well, I was able to kill crows before. I just got swarmed.
Yeah, you need your special AoE abilities, like what are those things? Oh yeah, Bubble and Hearth. Just Bubble and Hearth, and you'll be fine. Oh, health potions that you can't. Hey!
Shut the front door.
So it looks like they have been dropping loot, but for some reason... Like, what button did you press to do that?
Alt.
Okay. Wow, those health potions are... Holy crap, it's still going.
I also just picked up something else.
You picked up... It looks like an... Oh! A dented shield and another copper knife.
Looks like these do pretty good damage. 3 to 9 damage plus 5 to 9 fire damage.
Oh, that's actually a weapon.
Alright, we'll take it. Let's go beat up some bad guys with torches.
That is, I think, the first game I've seen where torch has actually been a weapon as opposed to just an item you use. I'm trying to think of the last time I actually used, you know, a torch in any way remotely offensively.
Woohoo! I leveled up! I don't know what this means.
You get more things. Oh, you get skill points. There you go. You can...
2?
Well, each one is a +4 to something, so...
Oh yeah, I didn't catch that. That's good.
So now you have 58 rather than a 50.
And I get a skill.
Hey, at least it's better than Dark Souls,
Alright,
dude.
so here we go. Alright, let's see. Defense. So these must be magic. Warfare, let's figure out warrior.
The warrior excels at dealing out physical damage, but pay as little. Hay to defense, higher mastery. You can learn to deal damage to several adversaries at once. That seems like it could be useful for you. We were just talking about needing AoEs. Press to add unused skill points. Okay. Alright, so you got the standard skill trees.
When do I get 2 weapon fighting?
Oh, right
Next up.
there. I think it looks like you need 4 more skill points, though, and you only have 2.
Yeah. To make sure those stuck. Sweet, alright.
Yep. So now you're better at doing things. And you're killing satyrs. Ooh, a short sword, an actual decent weapon. Or a weapon-type weapon. That you can't equip because you need 56 dex.
Garbage.
Wow, that is...
It's actually my torch does more damage than it.
Which is odd. Like, I find it absolutely bizarre that a torch is the best weapon you can use at this point in the game. Seriously, when was the last game you remember playing that you could use a torch as a weapon?
I don't know.
I think the last time it happened for me was the Lord of the Rings Two Towers game for the PS2, and even then it wasn't a weapon, it was as part of a set-piece event, where, like, you know, Aragorn was fighting off the ring wraiths, and, like, he was using a torch and a sword. So even then it wasn't necessarily I was damaging with a torch, it was just more fluff than anything else.
Pick up a shield, they said. Become the hero of the people, they said.
Well, at least you found the Satyr Shaman finally. And he is a hell of a tank. Also a hell of a coward. He keeps running away from you.
That's because he's a caster, bro. What would you do if you're a caster?
Stand my ground and cast an area of effect spell around me? Hey, you got stuff. It also looks like it's going to do that thing where it auto-equips the best equipment you can use.
It does! I like it.
Yep. That's actually quite nice. And all the rest of that stuff you can't actually use yet.
You have no more room.
Shut up.
Yep. Well, time to play inventory Tetris.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the issue. Is that's exactly what it becomes.
Yeah, that's the one thing I generally don't like about these games. You can put the oh, I guess that's fine then.
My silk sash is more protective than my leather armor.
Yeah, this game's a bit wonky with what's good and what's not.
Hey man, torches, the shit. Alright, new challenge. You have to beat this game using only a torch.
I'd be willing to bet, well, maybe not money because I don't really have any money, but I'd be willing to bet anything else that, oh, is that better? It's still not better!
Silk Simple Sash is still...
I bet you there is an I bet you there is a particular weapons tree for torches. Like you have like the improved torch, or like the, you know, like the flaming torch of fireness.
My club is now better than my torch.
Okay. So you're gonna drop the torch. Fuck you, torch.
What is this? Shut the front door.
Enchanted shrines give you a temporary bonus. And some of them may
Oh, so I
heal.
didn't have to burn through all of my... Interesting. When do I get a town portal?
What's a town portal?
Take me back to town so I don't have to walk all the way.
Alright, or fast travel or whatever that is. Actually, I know it's fast travel. I've used that word or phrase numerous times.
Recall potion, whatever. I'm not picky. So I missed all of these.
It really was like the mean Path of Exile, not realizing that the item notifications were turned off.
There was a blip that
What drives these creatures to
told me I had to push Alt to view inventory or view items in the ground, but interesting, very interesting. Just poor peasant farmers. The economy must be tough.
Well, that's part of playing games you've never played before, learning things as you go, looking like an idiot as you do
Your
it
victory
sometimes.
today is great, but I fear there will be more monsters tomorrow. At least there is
You have saved our farms and our life.
welcome.
Wow. And the inventory you're not using is going for quite a fair amount of gold.
Yeah.
Like, so far it seems like your biggest nemesis in this game is just not having high enough stats to equip stuff. Because, yeah, that's... Well, actually, that's not even as good as what you had.
keep both those for now. Let's take a look at weapons.
You know, now that I think about it, I've played other action RPGs that do this, and it's one of the things I don't like about it. Like, hey, you have this really awesome piece of equipment that you found or bought or did a lot of stuff to get, but you can't equip it because it has minimum stat requirements.
No, yeah, it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I understand for Dark Souls because it's meant to make you specialize a bit more.
Well, also, like, so this equipment that I'm finding is basically for... So, like, I'm going to sell that. So, like, basically it's all for non-fighters. I'm a fighter, so I gotta...
Right. I think the game I've played that dealt with inventory the best, my personal favorite in terms of how it dealt with, like, weapons and equipment is still Tales of Xillia. Because Tales of Xillia, the way it works, is rather than the standard RPG where, you know, you get the best equipment from this particular vendor, then you have to wait till later in the game to find another vendor to buy slightly better equipment. With that one, it was, you know, you get certain items, like various different types of items, like loot items, in combat, and you gave them to shops, and the more you gave them, the more upgraded they got, and the more inventory they would have to sell. In other words, it was distinctly possible if you spent, you know, hours and hours and hours and hours grinding in the starting area to get extremely powerful equipment very early on in the game, which I like.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it meant you could become fairly overpowered pretty quickly. Or, well, not quickly, it took a while, but you could become very overpowered early on in the game. Which I think more games should let you do. I think more games should reward you. Like, hey, you're kind of a nut job if you want to spend 10 hours here grinding repeatedly, getting, you know, all this crap. But if you want to do that, hey, go nuts. We'll totally let you.
So the hand axe I just, or a similar one to what I just bought, was just laying on the ground right outside there.
Nice. Well, at least you're not out too much. Actually, oh, that's worse than the one you got, so never mind.
And that's the exact same?
It looks like it, yes.
No, mine blocks more damage.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
So, very generic. Stories slightly different, but I'm assuming all the levels are randomized. But who knows?
That'd be actually interesting. A procedurally well, I say that'd be interesting, a procedurally generated action RPG, but Diablo did something like that.
That's what almost all of them are.
Honestly, I've never quite understood that about a lot of these action RPGs, because normally, once you're done with like the level of the area you're in, you're not going to go back there again. Or at least I never did in Diablo. I'd go in, do like the dungeon and stuff I needed to do.
It's so every time you played through the game, it was a very different experience. Interesting. Hey, you have a primitive chest. Maybe I'll get more loot I can't use.
Well, or more loot you can't even carry. Because yeah, there's two chests there. One's a primitive, one's a regular. Oh, look, more potions.
Slaughtering the beast, man.
So I realized I probably should have brought like a list of topics up to talk about. This game's gonna get real samey real quick. It's already getting samey.
I know.
Go out.
It was terrible. If only we had No Man's Sky to play.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Okay. For some reason, like I have access to it on my Steam account on Alex's computer, but again, it's only because
It's already installed too.
right. Also, you probably even if I had gotten it working, you'd have been playing on my account more than likely.
Yeah, that'd be boring and terrible.
Well, it'd be, you know, just more of what I was doing. I've digged around a lot more with No Man's Sky since coming out. I've clocked, I think, about... I mean, granted, I've only had, you know, been able to do it whenever I've had the computer. But I've still managed to clock about 12, 14 hours into it. I've discovered about how many different planets? It's been about 8.
Hey.
I mean, granted, I'm also spending a lot more time. Alex has been, I mean, he's been speeding along. He's like, I don't even know. He's way the hell further on distance than I am because he's just been like going from planet to planet to planet, getting exactly what he needs and then moving on.
That's what a lot of people do, which, you know, I've read quite a bit about the game, and that, you know, there's quite a few different strategies, and that's one of my least favorite, I think, because it just doesn't, it won't really get you any good because you can't beat this game. Like the whole, it's kind of one of my big reasons why I'm almost scared to let myself play it because, you know, I'm the type of person who likes to finish things all the time, and you are the opposite. You've never finished anything.
I have finished many of my games.
More often than not, you play it through 6 times before you finally beat it.
There have only been a few games where that's happened.
You can't carry anymore.
I mean, I've beaten every single Final... Well, not every single Final Fantasy. I've never beaten 2, and I've never beaten... What was the other one I haven't... I know there's been at least one other one I haven't beaten. Actually, let's start with the ones I have beaten. I've beaten 1, I've beaten... Oh, I haven't beaten 3 either, but then again, I've only had it for a few months. So I've beaten 1, I've beaten 4, I've beaten 5... I don't think I've beaten 6. That might be the other one I haven't beaten, because then I've beaten 7, 8, 9, and 10... never beaten 12, but then again, never really played it. Never got far. I lost interest well before I got to the end of the game.
Which game?
Final Fantasy 12.
Oh, the final boss battle is the easiest thing in the world because your characters are so powerful by that point that you just,
Well, again, I was bored with that.
You should be able to set up your auto rules and walk away.
Right. Well, like I was trying to say, like I got bored with that game well before I got to that point anyway.
Interesting. I loved that game.
I did not.
That's why we can't be friends anymore.
Apparently.
Over between us. Sorry.
Although, interestingly enough, I have beaten Final Fantasy 13, which is a markedly worse game than 12, I will admit.
And see, that's the thing is, I never did. So there is a quick button. Shut the front door.
Oh.
Go back and sell my loot.
Okay.
Interesting.
Anything else?
Anyway, my point was, I have beaten many of the games that I own. Sometimes it just takes me a while. Well, because the thing is, like, I have a very short attention span, so sometimes I'll start playing a game because I have a bit of a craving or a desire. You're just like, yeah, I really want to play this game, and I'll play it for a few hours and I'll get bored, and you're like, oh, that's satisfied, and I'll go to a different game. Usually one that I'm actually working on beating. And then when I go back to actually play the game properly, it's like, I forgot where I was, let's start over. And I usually end up doing that a few times before I end up getting a run where I'm really heavily invested in doing anything.
I'll see you again, I hope.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, for the most part, pick up a game and then run it through.
Yeah, generally I have about 3 or 4 different games I work on at one time. For me right now, I'm going back through Dragon Age because I want to get a complete actual playthrough because I have Inquisition now. So I'm going through Origins. I've almost.
You're still playing on the 3 though, aren't you? Or are you playing this on computer?
I'm playing it on my PS3. Next gen isn't that much, or current gen isn't that much better than the last gen, to be honest. I'm not terribly impressed.
No, it's a completely different gaming experience. The best example of that was Destiny. Like if you play Destiny, because I played it on both, and it was so much smoother, so much prettier, and there's more going on to enjoy on even a simple game like Destiny. I guess Destiny wasn't really that simple, but
it was also boring.
I like Destiny.
Like I played Destiny on a computer eventually, and even then, even playing it on a computer as opposed to on like a PS3, I got bored with it so freaking quickly.
Interesting.
Like it was dull, uninteresting. Even like the guy who was it that got to do the voice of freaking that little robot following you around? I know it was a big name voice actor. I just can't remember what it was.
No idea.
I think he was in Game of Thrones. Anyway, even he didn't seem like he was that into it. It's just like, yeah, here's the thing. Go do this thing. It felt like just another generic shooter, and there was no sense of purpose. I didn't feel. So that was the game I got bored, put down, and will probably never pick up again.
Interesting. I won't ever pick it up again too because I had to buy an expansion or a second expansion pack game on top of buying. Yeah, that game actually pissed me off a whole lot. Oh, I'm gonna have to, you have to put 4 into there to get there. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. So now you can do a bunch of different things. Yeah, it looks like it'll take you a while to get a 2-weapon fighting. Oh well, you can put points in these lower grade skills first. I'm sure that'll be fine. And again, I don't know what any of these things do, and I'm not as into action RPGs as you are. Actually, can we really call this an action RPG? Because there's not much action.
No, this is an action RPG. Mindlessly swinging your weapon away is considered action RPG.
Oh, is that what that's considered? An action RPG?
Well, that's interesting. That's impressive.
A graphical cutaway? Okay, yeah, that does take quite a fair amount of programming work. Also, when did is this game an indie game or is it an old like abandonware game? How long has this been out?
No idea. I believe this is a remaster, so.
See, for me, an action RPG would be something like Kingdom Hearts, where there's actually some skill involved.
Right.
Rather than just hold down the mouse button until everything in front of you dies.
No, and the way these games work is, yeah, it's more about what skills you put in where and being able to calculate that kind of stuff better. Which
is probably why I've never been able to get very far in any of them. Because, I get bored too easily with them.
No, yeah, you just want to run through and melee smash everything.
Well, not even just that I want to be able to run through a melee smash. I want something where I feel like my actual personal skills, things like, well, Dark Souls. I've mentioned it a few times already. I'll mention it again. There's skill to Dark Souls. You have to learn how to parry properly. You have to learn when to dodge, when to block. How, like, you have to learn boss patterns. It actually takes involvement rather than just, micromanagement.
Yeah, and that's why, so like these games, these are great for when I'm bored, but yeah, they don't hold up very well. Diablo 3 was like the biggest disappointment in the world because of that. It was just more of this. Like really, it was just a prettier version of the same game. Like they're all the same. Alright, so someone feels like they had a really creative idea with this thing. No, this is some Diablo fan who played Diablo and was like, I can make cooler skills than Diablo. Dude, no one cares. It just ends up becoming a min-max BS game that no one wants to play.
The only one of these kind of games that I've actually played, and I don't know if we could really classify the same thing, but the only one of them that I've played of this that I might say holds up would be Knights of the Old Republic. That's actually an interesting game.
Well, yeah, but that was more of a massively multiplayer RPG than it was an action RPG.
An MMO, yeah, fair enough. I mean, again,
and that's why. I mean, you didn't like World of Warcraft, but that's why World of Warcraft held up so well. That one did end up becoming like a min-max, and your min-max Nazis were on there. But you know what? I wasn't that type of person. And I had just as much fun playing it as them.
Maybe it had more to do with the people who do it. Because there were things I didn't like about World of Warcraft, although I can understand why people did. The thing I really like about KOTOR is just not even just that I guess the combat was a bit more involved, but the fact that the universe around me was more interesting and there was actually stuff going on. Kind of like I said earlier, the thing with the story and the interesting characters. I think a lot of these games could cover a multitude of flaws if they actually had some kind of interesting, story, interesting narrative going on in the background, as opposed to just go kill 10 of Monster X and bring back, 10 of item Y that they drop.
Right. And so the original, I mean, it's come a long way. So again, I haven't played any of now there's another expansion out. I haven't played the last 2 expansion packs, but prior to that, I mean, they brought out a lot of story elements, and I mean, the world literally changed around you with, I'm hitting the wrong button.
Yes, you are. This is going vastly different from last time, largely because you have health potions now.
Yep.
Yeah, again, I know people who like World of Warcraft. I've played Warcraft 3. I used to play it all the time with my college roommate. We both got really into it. I liked the kind of the comedic sense it had to it, or not really the comedic, the lighthearted tone it had to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe if I could have gotten a bit more into it. I guess with
I only beat the campaigns to beat the campaigns in Warcraft 3. I didn't play online or anything like that. And I think most of the time I cheated just to beat it because I actually enjoyed the story of that one. That's not why I enjoyed World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft really is my friends that made it fun more than anything.
Right. And I guess that's probably what it is for a lot of people. But I mean, for me, if it can have good storytelling, I guess. And World of Warcraft just didn't. I think it was that World of Warcraft just delved a bit too much into those repetitive quests for a reason. I didn't really never got a sense of why I was there or what I was contributing to any of it.
You also skipped through every reading. That game required you to read a lot.
Thank the god Hermes you came along.
Yeah.
Because almost everything that did had a... Apparently everyone here worships Hermes, by the way. Which I believe the opening cinematic for this explained that the gods all fell?
So this is a Greek mythology thing without the gods, basically. Or
Well, the gods all died, so that's why all the monsters are back.
You know, I've always found that ancient kind of Greek mythology stuff interesting. Because just the way that they all... I mean, not even just the Greeks, like all the ancient civilizations of the time had this really, you know, kind of a... I don't necessarily want to say cynical, but, I guess... Oh, I don't even know what the word was... They basically, every single one kind of understood, or accepted the fact, like, hey, we all basically worship the same gods, we just have different names for them, or, like, they're different gods and ours are apparently better because we won. Which is an interesting way to go about it, I think. Just the, hey, we're better than you, we must be, otherwise we wouldn't have beat you. Or our gods are better than yours, I guess would be a better way of putting it. And then there were the Romans who basically just took
Fucking
everything
harpies,
everyone
dude.
else.
Fucking hate
Oh,
harpies.
harpies!
You know how I feel about harpies.
I know exactly how you feel about harpies. You've repeatedly said how you feel about harpies. Pretty much every one of your D&D characters hates harpies.
Oh yeah, no. Any world that exists, like it's instant like blood wrath.
I feel like in real life your class is ranger and your favorite enemy is harpy.
Pretty much.
Is this because of an ex-girlfriend? Might I hazard a guess?
Nope. I think it's something that stems from World of Warcraft, actually.
Yeah, because I do not have your same dislike of harpies.
You must assist me.
I'm trying to think if there is an enemy I really do hate so much that I... You know what? Actually, there might be, but it's not even so much hate as kind of, you know, run away from and not touch with a 10-foot pole. And that would be spiders. Like, I don't mind spiders in real life, like, you know, whatever, they're tiny, I squish them.
Well, this sucks.
Oh, look, you're fighting a Mega Satyr! Or Satyr, or whatever. I've never quite been sure on how you pronounce that. Satyr or Satyr. I always just think satire because, you know, the literary device of satire. Look at all that equipment that you can't hold.
I can, none of it's better than what I have. Oh, we have to play this for 20 more minutes.
The way is clear? Good. Well, I'll be
Yeah,
moving on.
seems like you're already getting a little bit bored with it.
Have this.
Side quest updated. My reward was a health potion.
Yay, Oh, also you get health and energy restored and experience. That's why you do it. You always do it for the experience, because experience equals levels and levels equals power. Incrementally larger numbers to do incrementally better things.
To fight better and stronger foes.
You know, I actually heard someone with an interesting RPG idea, something he said he wanted to do but didn't quite know how. He wanted to do an RPG where you start out as like this super awesome RPG hero with who was already like max level with all the abilities, and as you went through, you kind of de-leveled and had to choose which abilities and skills to give up. Until at the end you were just like bare minimum level 1.
What was this?
It was a concept one of my friends had for designing a game. Yeah, another one of my college buddies. It was actually the one I played Warcraft with. He was big into modding that game. Actually, he made he actually turned it into a first-person shooter somehow. I'm not quite sure how he did it, but he was showing it off to me, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of impressive, actually. Yeah, he was telling me how he kind of wanted to do that. He said he had the story idea for, like, I can't remember what it was, like, how your power had been gotten, you've gotten the power, like, through dark forces, and the idea was you'd have to defeat these dark enemies and seal your power within them, but it also made you be giving it up. He said he was still working out a lot of the fine details, but it's something after hearing it, it's like, yeah, that'd be kind of fun to play. I'm kind of curious how it would play out, how it would feel doing the reverse of the standard RPG thing, where you get more powerful and instead getting less powerful, getting more ineffective, and how that would work.
Just keep dumping your dump stat.
I guess. So since we still got a little bit longer to go on this, I'm going to see if I can find any big news that's happened recently other than the one that everyone's been talking about nonstop for weeks.
What's that?
Well, I'm not going to mention it on here because I'm hoping if we can all just stop talking about it, it'll eventually go away and we can get back to.
But I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you when we're done.
Oh.
I refuse to even mention the name of the person involved in this. Because I don't want to add more fuel to the fire. I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. Also, the best case scenario in things like this where someone's done something to piss you off is usually just to ignore them.
Oh my gosh. Now I want to know what you're talking about. I'm mad. Does this involve Donald Trump?
No, actually, although he might have said something about it. I'm sure he made some mention of it in his speech at some point or another. So let's see.
Which, by the way, I still stand that my Taco Tuesday defense is the best reason to vote for Donald Trump I've heard.
That was an interesting little argument. Yes, I am okay with Taco Tuesday.
Well, every day will be Taco Tuesday. Or no, it wasn't Taco Tuesday. There will be a taco truck on every corner.
I would say you don't want every day to be Taco Tuesday because then it's not special. That I'm actually against. You don't want to devalue something. And
so now I'm starting to find junk gear, which is very interesting because when I press or hold the Alt button, it doesn't show. And if I press and hold Shift, I can swing in midair. That's pretty cool.
The Spartan army. Yes, you'll find them just...
Interesting.
I can go join the Spartans, bro? I want to be a great Spartan warrior.
So apparently there was a mod of No Man's Sky called No Mario Sky.
That sounds terrible.
It does. And Nintendo has already cracked down because they like to go after people for copyright infringement a lot. As we found out the last time you and I did a recording.
Yeah. Hey, do we ever hear anything about that?
It has officially been taken down.
Well, I knew that, but
like I said, they got threatened with the cease and desist, so yeah.
Which, if you don't know how to find a copy of it, you're a loser. There's hundreds of them. If you need one, just email us. We'll send you one.
Yeah, I'm not going to be involved with that one. I don't want Nintendo threatening to sue me. I can't afford to pay anything that they'd be.
Bro, you're so poor. You're judgment proof. I just got raped by harpies.
Yes, you did. Man,
let me guess. I lose all my gold.
Either.
Oh, I didn't lose all my gold.
What did you lose?
I don't know. Probably experience or something. Because something does come back when you click your grave. So the Spartans were this way.
I was gonna say, like, if you don't lose anything when you're dying, there's no reason just to not repeatedly through. So even Dark Souls makes you forfeit all your souls every time you die.
Isn't there a finite number of souls in that game?
There are in Dark Souls 2, from what I understand. Dark Souls 1, like, they just keep coming back so you can keep grinding. But in Dark Souls 2, after you kill them a certain number of times, enemies just stop spawning. Which I've heard a lot of people say is good, but to me, I've spent so much time, like, killing enemies repeatedly and grinding the souls out of them to get more levels and equipment and stuff, that I don't know what I would do if I knew that was going to be a limited resource.
Apparently I leveled up and didn't notice it.
Nah, that tends to happen in these kinds of games. So, other than this No Mario Sky thing, let's see what else happened over the past few weeks. It looks like it's been another one of the slow news weeks. I mean, we haven't quite gotten into like the pre-Christmas rush yet, where lots and lots of games are coming out. We're almost there. And so far, a lot of different things have been announced. They're talking about releasing a new Call of Duty here in a couple more months, which I cannot tell you how little that means to me. They've also talked about releasing a new Battlefield game. And, Final Fantasy 15, that's another game that's going to be coming out. They said, I don't know if it's pre-Christmas or post-Christmas, but that's scheduled. Anything else happening? Doesn't look... I won't click it on here anyway. Have you heard anything new out of the gaming arena?
No.
Any games you're looking forward to?
What just came out? Wild Hunt, Game of the Year edition. I never did buy it. I rented it a couple times, and I'm kind of excited to play the Game of the Year edition.
Okay, so you said it was called
Witcher 3 Wild Hunt?
Oh, Witcher 3. Okay, I'm like, Wild Hunt. Is that a game? Is that a thing? But okay, so Witcher. That's a game I actually, or Witcher 3 is a game I've actually not gotten around to playing.
It's pretty good.
Well,
it's very different than what I'm used to. Oh. You lose a little bit of experience and you get it back when you pick up your grave.
You lose 5 experience. Wow.
Well, it'll probably be more as time goes on.
Well, if it's relative to your total experience and the amount this time was 5, I can't imagine next time will be that much more. Unless it's, more every time you die. Wouldn't that be a hell of a punishment?
Well, it probably is after a certain level it becomes like a couple bars.
Maybe it's like that old Chinese myth or Chinese folklore tale where the one grand erase on the first tile of a chessboard and then double it on every chessboard tile after that until they're all full. That would suck.
Exponential growth.
Yeah.
Exponential penalties.
Like, the experience loss doubles every time you die. So you only lose 1 experience first time, then 2 the second, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16. And eventually you just lose all your levels in one go. But yeah, I've never actually gotten around to playing The Witcher 3. I played The Witcher 1, and I played a little bit. I played like the first hour of The Witcher 2 on a friend's PC. And neither one was really my bag. Like I sunk about 8 hours into trying to play Witcher 1 before finally saying, fuck it, this ain't even worth it.
No, I had quite a bit of fun playing it. I really enjoyed it.
Witcher 3?
Yep.
Okay.
It was good. Again, there's quite a few different builds that are very interesting. Like, so seeing Endgame and seeing how people played it, like, at the end was very different than how I played it in the beginning. So, one of the cool things is they show the bomb specialist, and the bomb that he throws at the end is significantly more impressive than mine were. Like, his basically could one-hit kill most monsters and this huge giant plume of smoke or whatever, and mine would be like this tiny little thing. So there's a lot of cool. That one had a good skill tree like this, but it was a very the biggest issue it suffered from were the monsters were all very, very the same monsters over and over. Different names, same exact mechanic, lots of like easy to and really like the only way to beat a lot of them was to exploit glitches. Abuse the fact that that there's a world.
The necklace! Oh, my daughter will have her dowry now, thanks to you. We'll start
we were supposed to be getting a necklace, were we?
And I did that. I didn't talk to him first, though.
Well, I never... This is the first I remember hearing about a necklace. He was like, oh, you got the necklace. Oh, this thing?
Because, yeah.
It's like, oh, I
went into the cave before talking to the guy who gave the quest.
I was like, yeah, I just happened to stumble across this.
Which, that's better than the alternative where I go through, clear the entire cave, and it's like, oh, and then you get the quest. Oh, and you should go in and do this. Okay, sure. You go in, and then you have to fight all the monsters again. You're like, oh, damn it.
That does annoy me. I've played games where like the things for the quest haven't spawned in until you talk to the NPC that gives you the quest, and then all the monsters respawn, and you have to kill them all again.
That's the quickest way to make me skip a secondary quest.
Oh man, yeah, like it's freaking annoying as shit. But the thing I didn't like about Witcher 1, because I guess I don't know much about Witcher 3. You mentioned that they do a lot of the same enemies, but that's every game. Every game likes to reskin enemies and pretend it's a new one. I mean, even Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is one of my favorite games, does that all the freaking time. Like, you know, oh, it looks like it's time to repaint the skeletons again.
Yeah.
But
no, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't break the game. But the big thing about that one is monster hunting, like these big elusive monsters, is the biggest part of the game. And to only have like 3 or 4 unique monsters and everything else is the skin of it is pretty
okay,
ridiculous.
That's a bit more detrimental. That would be like Shadow of the Colossus having, you know, every other monster look like, you know, the monster 2 monsters ago.
That's exactly what it'd be like. And you'd be like, well, why am I playing this game?
But, alright.
I got lost.
Yeah, no kidding. Everything looks kind of the same, as we were just talking about. The thing about Witcher 1, like, it didn't have necessarily that problem, because The Witcher 1 wasn't about fighting big monsters. The Witcher 1... I'm actually not sure what The Witcher 1 was about. There's some tangential plot about, like, killing demons, but they didn't seem to be that big of a threat, and they weren't doing much, so I'm not really sure how it all connected. But the biggest thing, other than just the crappy narrative, was the fact that the game was so massively complex. Like, it was one of those things that never could have been released multi-platform, even if the PS4 had been out, because there were so many freaking hotkeys and there were so many things you had to do.
Interesting. See, Witcher 3 is obviously multi-platform, but so the problem with Witcher 3 is you jump in and they're pretty good about re-explaining the story, but you definitely get the sense of like, oh, I missed this, and there's a lot of carryover characters and stuff like that. They're like, oh, I wish I had known what they were, you know, kind of what, you know, what the inside joke is here. So I almost thought about playing and I just never got around to it.
I would not recommend playing Witcher 1. Like, it is so poorly designed. Like, every time you're walking around, like, there is a button that's specific job is to switch between 3 different modes: walking mode, talking to people mode, and combat mode.
Interesting.
Yes, and you have to switch between the 3 modes constantly. You cannot talk to people while in combat mode. You cannot find loot while you're in any mode other than...
That's actually what's really funny is The Witcher 3 does the same kind of thing. It's just there's not a button, it's an automatic process. So you have to basically sheath your sword to talk to people or interact with things, which means you basically have to wait a couple minutes.
Right. Well, even then, when you're in combat, you have to like switch between multiple modes at once if you want to have any kind of success, and trying to figure out how to do so is a chore because you have to navigate like 3 menus to do it.
Interesting.
Trying to remember like all the... mixing potions was something I looked at for like 2 minutes and then stopped.
That's a big thing. I got into that. You do get into that.
Oh, dude! Like I actually had to read the manual, which no joke, the manual for that is this thick for Witcher 1. And I started looking at it, reading it, and said, "Screw it! I don't even care." Even doing quests.
What the shenanigans, Batman?
And now we're in the part of the game where you have to fight multiple enemies at once. Good luck. Oh, and you're out of health potions, too. Well, hopefully you can tank enough damage to make it through. Which you might actually have. Oh, there's another one.
No, like, that's the issue. Is like, there's like 10 skeletons. I'm like, alright, you know, 10 skeletons, that'll be kind of risky. I don't have a ton of potions. And you get up there and they're like, nope, 50 skeletons. Oh, great.
You can't carry anymore.
I mean, even doing quests in Witcher 1, though, was a freaking chore. Like... Most action RPGs, like, okay, here's your quest. Go kill 10 of Monster X and, you know, give me the item that they drop. And that seems simple enough. But in Witcher, first of all, you have to go research the monsters before they'll even spawn. How you research things is something, again, you have to look up in the manual, and it usually involves going to a particular research station, spending, you know, a few minutes of in-game time, looking through particular text until you find the one thing that's like, this is what the monster looks like. Then you have to find another thing in that same research area that indicates, you know, what part of them they need to you need to hit them to drop it or whatever, or like how to get them to drop things. Which, again, it's not an actual technique you do. It's just so that they.
So there is definitely a huge bestiary in Witcher 3, which I actually kind of enjoyed. You do have to kind of discover, like, before you go on a hunt for a new monster, you kind of you do like an investigation of it, which is like a clue searching thing, and then you have to read the bestiary before you can fight it, because that's how you remember what the weakness is, and then usually you search for an item that either like you create some kind of lure, or you create, you know, just different things like that, where you do create something to lure them out or trap them or something like that to get them to fight. That was actually the best mechanic of the whole monster hunting thing.
Well, this wasn't monster hunting. This was every single quest you had to do this.
Oh, it wasn't necessarily every quest you had to do that, but it definitely.
It wasn't Witcher 1.
Oh.
Again, you can get dual-wield now. You can put a point in there and then get a...
Yeah, but I don't want it quite yet, because you have to put multiple points in there in order to make it good. Because you only have a 12% chance of using your offhand weapon. So I have to give up my shield for that, and it's not worth it quite yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hadn't even been paying attention to the skills tree largely. They just look like they're just little nodes to me. Yep, stuff is stuff. It's, you know, max of that skill, that's probably fine. I don't know, there are a myriad of other problems. Like, any action that you could take in that game, anything you could do in that game, generally had an additional 12 steps.
Interesting.
It reminds me kind of Tales of Cinnabar, where everything is needlessly complicated.
Yeah.
So
when you become a god.
Yeah, when you become a god. When you create a character.
We did find that book in the move, by the way.
Good. Chris did mention to me that you guys had found it, and I was excited. One of these days, I do want to do a podcast where we're not even necessarily where we play, but just where we try to figure out the rules and make characters, which I'm sure will take 4 or 5 hours.
You know what? You need to tell Chris that's happening.
I should. I know he wants to do it. I think for us, it's all just finding time at this point. Because you work like 80 hours a week, and Chris has 2 kids.
I only work 40 hours a week. I just go to school now.
And this looks like the point in the game where it would help to be able to like sort what items actually show up on the ground. Or you can just take the ones that have color to them.
This is the Spartans' camp.
Well, at least you finally found the Spartans. Maybe you can become a Spartan yourself. Oh wait, no, that's right. The Spartans weren't an actual elite force; they were just a particular country or city.
Speak with commoners who arrive uninvited.
Bitch, do I look like a fucking commoner? I have better equipment than any of you slackers.
Actually, I don't know if that's true. You don't know what kind of armor they have.
I don't know what I need.
Oh, there's crafting in this game too?
I tell you, stranger, we've seen invasion.
Oh, like I can't think of. Oh,
hit the wrong button.
What'd you do? You did hit the wrong button.
I like how the game still just paused.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. I can't think of a single game that has a decent crafting mechanic in it, to be honest. I'm sure there are probably at least 1 or 2.
No, 9 times out of 10, it's, okay, here's this crafting mechanic. By the time you find the resources available for crafting, that level's way underpowered now. Oh.
Busy enough supplying these Spartans.
Actually, now that I think about it, Dragon Ages wasn't too bad. Usually it was just like, hey, you want to create a health poultice? Okay, you need elf fruit and a flask. You can find those things pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, but how often was the equipment actually useful? That's my question.
Well, potions. Like, you can make potions which were, used for restoring health. It wasn't, you couldn't make your own equipment. It was, making potions and poison, which, admittedly, I never used any of the poisons. But I made potions quite frequently, like health and mana potions.
Interesting.
But as far as, like, things you could actually, like, make different equipment, I can't think of any games, you're going to craft this now. You can, here's a recipe for this. I mean, there may have been 1 or 2. I guess now the problem is just trying to think of which games have crafting mechanics. Star Oceans was terrible. You remember Star Ocean 3's crafting mechanic?
Yeah, but I remember wasting a ton of time on it, so...
Well,
must
yeah,
not have been all bad.
Well, yeah, that's because, like, every time... It wasn't that you could make stuff with other stuff. It was you had a chance to randomly spawn an item based on the price of the item you chose and what, field you were in, which was a really terrible way of doing it.
I only played till the end of time, and I don't remember much about it.
That's what I'm talking about, the end of time. Honestly, New Hope had a slightly better one, because New Hope was like, hey, you could make this item or weapon with these things, which you may or may not have. Which was at least a little better, because at least then you knew what you needed. Whereas Star Ocean...
You played Neverwinter?
I think I played it for a little bit with you and Justin one time.
So the only way to really be successful in Neverwinter, by crafting, is to buy the premium content.
Wow, that's... Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually worse. I hate that kind of crap.
I mean, you can, but it's real time grinding is what it takes to level that stuff up.
Don't worry. It's because they're pious.
Anyways, you literally have to like level grind. You basically log in every couple hours to get your profession kind of done and time restarted. But otherwise, you have to buy these freemium packs to get the better guys and the better equipment to craft actually useful equipment. Yeah, I think when the game first came out, so the level up has been rate has been increased heavily since I first played it. Mm-hmm. So it really, what was I going to say?
What were you going to say?
I don't remember. Oh, so really, the only way I could see crafting being useful is I could basically I would take the skills to craft the equipment for my next character, and that's how I would do it.
Yeah, interesting. That's something that's really been annoying me about the more recent games that have been coming out. The pay to win or the pay to speed things up. Because it seems like more and more a lot of games are relying on the, hey, this takes time to do, but if you spend real world money, you can get an item that'll let you skip it. Which I've never really understood. Actually, the more recent Assassin's Creed games have done something similar to that, which has pissed me off a lot. Unity did that, and I think Syndicate did as well. I haven't really got around to Syndicate.
But on the other hand, I could kind of see it. So that's a big thing. It's like someone like me, who I'm a professional who games. I don't have nearly as much time as a lot of people to game. So yeah, I would kind of almost rather pay a little bit of money to be caught up with the people who play for hours on end.
Well, I also don't play competitively for the most part, especially in a game like Assassin's Creed, which is, for me, ostensibly single player. I mean, I know they'll try to work in a lot of multiplayer mechanics.
Yeah. Did that one have free? And there's a couple games. Rainbow Moon was one that had a really interesting, you basically could pay to not have to grind your character up, which they ended up, when that game kind of went out of business, they clearance everything out, so to speak. And that's exactly what I did. It was 99 cents for 20,000 experience points, which leveled you up from 1 to 100.
See, I don't like that, though. That seems to me like just, hey, I'm bored, I'm going to pay money to skip the entire game.
Well, it was to skip 6 hours of running around in the exact same area level grinding, because that's what that game needed. That game was very old school NES feel as far as leveling and everything, which made it a ton of fun. I loved it, but after a certain point, you put so many hours in, you're like, oh, this game just keeps going. Alright, I'm ready to do something new now.
Yeah, I think we've reached basically the end of this conversation.
Oh, I was talking about Rainbow Moon, but yes, this game. So we've reached our hours. So this game is terrible. So.
Yeah, this game. Let
me rephrase. For $5, if you're looking for a new action RPG to play, and that's exactly kind of what I was looking for, fantastic game. We'll see how the crafting mechanics and stuff get into it. Very slow build. The skill tree that I picked seems decent. Again, Ben, this isn't your expertise, but.
Well, no, I think this game's shit.
Yeah. So we'll see. So it looks like, you pick a tree and these level. So if I'm going to do dual wield, this is the talents I want. If I'm going to rely heavily on my onslaught skill, I'm going to pick these talents. So obviously there's a couple different things. I like that they organize it this way. That's one of the better ways I've seen. Again, unfortunately, I didn't get to switch in between skill trees, and that's always a very important aspect of the game. I wish I could swap between two different skill trees. That was something World of Warcraft took 4 years to make, and no one else has done since. But
yeah,
cool.
I wouldn't play this game, but then again, I hate most. If you've seen the Path of Exile video on the channel, you know what I think about most of these quote action RPGs. I need to come up with another.
Well, Path of Exile was more of an MMO action RPG more than this is a isotopic. Is that what it's called? Anyway,
Isotopic?
this is not isotopic. Isometric. I don't know.
It's made of isotopes. Okay,
It's a Diablo clone.
Right.
As far as Diablo clones go, this one has full production value, so that's really impressive. It's definitely not on par graphically with what's latest and greatest, but this is not a latest and greatest game. Again, for the price, it's worth paying $5 for.
Okay.
So,
well, on that note, I think we'll send us out. But thanks for as always tuning in, guys. I was Ben,
and I'm Matt,
and this was Titan Quest. See you next time, everyone.